Hey yo, let's talk about The Quiet Man and discover why I recently lost my sanity all over again. So this game was gifted to me by a Discord user named Zinthus. Thanks dude. You're directly contributing to my manic episodes, so that's great. You might have seen other people covering this game and hating on it. I haven't seen any of that coverage. This is all my own opinion from the live playthrough I did. I didn't play through it again, even though the game desperately wants you to, because dear God, how could I possibly play this for like another 3 hours? The Quiet Man is a FMV / Unreal Engine brawler hybrid. It I don't know, I'm not gonna call it seamlessly, but it transitions between Unreal Engine and full motion video, like real life footage, that type of thing. Some of it is filmed like IRL, and then other cutscenes are in the engine for no discernible reason other than they couldn't find the same location that the cutscene took place in. And then you've got some combat, and the combat is absolutely awful. I think this might be the first game I've ever completed without knowing how the combat system works. There are no tutorials in this game. There's barely any options. Some of the options are like only visual and don't tell you what they do, so you don't know what you're clicking on. And then it gives you like a controller layout and a keyboard layout, but it doesn't tell you what buttons will do different things at different times. There is like an ultimate Q ability you can go into to like slow down time, and that breaks people's blocks, except for the times when it doesn't break people's blocks, but you don't know what enemies you're supposed to use it on and what ones you can't use it on. Sometimes you won't be able to hit an enemy for like 2 to 3 minutes, and then all of a sudden, you'll be able to hit them again, and it doesn't make any sense. Enemies will constantly stun lock you in the game, and you can die because of it. If you're in the middle of a punch, you have to wait for the entire animation to end so that you can hopefully punch the other guy that's taking a swing back at you. But sometimes you'll just go after somebody else completely different instead. The collision is all over the place. You go through the same animations every single time you take somebody down. Sometimes they'll get back up, sometimes they won't. Repeatedly, my limbs and extremities just go straight through people, and it looks hilarious. You fight the same goddamn enemies for the entire game. And I'm not talking like the same character models. I'm pretty sure they are the exact same people over and over and over again. And you just keep kicking their ass. You just keep punching them and knocking them out. I fought the same guys for at least 2.5 hours. And then in the last part of the game, it throws some other enemies at you, but they just look different and they all do the exact same thing. Except for some of them are even harder to hit, and you still don't know when you're allowed to hit them or what move is gonna break their block, because sometimes hitting E will break their block, or sometimes kicking them will, but other times it won't work on the exact same enemy a few moments later or before, and it's all awful. It's so awful. Oh, and we haven't gotten to the most infuriating part of this game. It's a pretentious piece of crap that has the audacity to ask you to play the game through at least twice, because the first time you play it, there's no audio. On purpose. I mean, there is some audio. You hear like vibrations because your main character is deaf, so like if you hit something, you get a slight, audio cue feedback, but it's all like muffled and stuff. But you don't hear any of the audio from the cutscenes at all, and there's no subtitles. And some of these cutscenes go for upwards of 5 minutes, and you just stand there looking at characters talking with no audio or text feedback as to what's going on. And it drove me absolutely insane. So the only explanation I have as to why this even exists is that whoever decided to have the original idea for this game wrote it down on a napkin and sent it to Squeenix and said they knew their model friend who could be the main character because, he's a model and look at his pretty face. And then filmed the whole thing, took out all the audio, and it's like, hey, this is what you think the story is all about, and then you beat the game, and it's like, ha! Now you can play the game with all the audio, and it's a giant bait and switch, because this is what the story is actually about, and you didn't know that. Aren't we clever? Now look, I understand this could possibly work on paper, maybe, if you did it really well. But in order to make a game with no audio, and that asks you to play through the entire thing over again on a new game plus or on a different mode, you need to make your game good the first time before you have the audacity to ask somebody to play it again. And the cutscenes go on so long, you don't know what's going on. The gameplay is absolutely horrendous on the level of the asset flips that I regularly play on Steam, that there is no possible way you could reasonably expect anybody to put another 3 hours into playing this game a second time just so they can see what the goddamn story is. I'm honestly baffled that Square Enix greenlit this because it's one of the biggest disasters I've ever seen come out of like a more major publisher since like possibly even Colonial Marines. And I'm pretty sure that Square Enix knew that when the game was releasing too, because I've actually got a decent relationship with their PR, and I didn't get a single promotional email about this game. I had no idea it even existed until it was released, so I think they figured it out and tried to quietly shove it out there for people so that nobody would notice, you know, like sweep it under the rug a little bit. But that's a bit hard to do when you got a name like Square Enix behind you, because people are going to be like, oh, this game could be really interesting, and it's got a neat idea, it's kind of off the wall. They didn't expect it to be pretentious garbage. Like, if whoever made this game, if that team decided to put less effort into trying to make a statement and trying to, like, subvert audience expectations, they could have put more effort into making the gameplay in their video game usable, or make sense in any way, shape, or form. All you do the entire time is you go from cutscene to cutscene, then you get locked in a room with the same enemies over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and you beat them up, and then you knock them down with the same mouse clicks. You sometimes hit Q to see if you can do your ultimate ability, but there's no meter for that, so you never know when it's gonna pop up. So sometimes it doesn't do anything, and then you die, then you do it again, and again, and again, and again. Then you get to a boss fight that takes forever because you don't know what to do, and sometimes the boss doesn't execute their combos correctly. Then you get to the main boss fight at the end of the game, and I figured out you could just spam one button over and over and over again to take out every enemy that's attacking you. To end this video off, I'm just gonna give you 5 minutes of an unedited cutscene from the game. Bye, losers.